We are now recording the April 20th, 2018 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
So we've survived, except for Tiffany, who's still in the thick of it, taking a little break.
Survived the April 15th, yeah.
Well,
Way to
it
go,
wasn't
Canada.
April
Keep
15th.
going.
I didn't know
Yeah.
Canada was April 30th.
Mm.
You look pretty good for, what is it, April 20th?
April 20th. I got
10 days to go.
And I have way more
You
than
still have
10
hair?
days.
It's not like you've been doing,
Yeah, my arms are numb. My butt's numb.
So your issue is the pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now that we're moving more to like the digital age of doing everything, it's the, where all the little bits of information is what you've dealt with, right? So then you get a whole bunch of the PDFs and whatever of all the documents, and it's like, okay, so now you have to take the time to actually move it to another folder or move it to somewhere else, as opposed to just like being able to tick off the file.
As opposed to holding a piece of paper in your hand. It's now digital, but where is it digital?
Yeah, I mean, the old paper way, you had a pile in front of you and you turned it over and you worked through every paper and you got through it. And now it's like, okay, now it's all digital, but there's no way to turn that digital file over or put a check mark on it unless you, like change the name of the file or you move the file to a new directory. So it's like,
or have smart sheets and you can have your little checklist.
right. But then,
you're setting that smart sheets up.
Yeah.
You mentioned
That's interesting, Tiffany, because as I was doing taxes this year, that's exactly what I was doing. It was all paper, so it was like, yep, that one's done, and that was my only way of like going, yeah, I got everything.
Yeah.
So, it'd be interesting to see that in the electronic world.
Yeah.
So
I find it's a little bit more time consuming because you're then, opening up the PDF, dealing with it, processing it, closing it, moving it to a new folder. So it's way more time and effort than the old doing things.
it's the same thing with bookkeeping.
Moving it to a new folder, what?
Mark,
So
speak
you
up.
know it's done.
Yeah, that's where if you have a workflow program.
Yeah, but what,
Yeah, but so I use ShareFile, so then my clients will send me stuff in a secure portal. It comes in and I make sure that it goes into the file box, and then I know that when I've moved it from the file box into their folders, then it's dealt with. Or I mass send it over to like a to be processed folder, and then after I'm done with it, I have to then move it to another folder that it is processed.
Yeah, you're making your folder movement your workflow.
In essence, yeah. And then, like in my tax program, I can actually attach the documents right into it so that if in the case of an audit, I just go into my tax program and it's right there as an embedded document.
But
so
can you just attach documents before you're ready to do the tax return?
I could, but I got to find fields to stick it attached to.
See, that's what I was. It's
So
like
it
needs
return.
an inbox. It's like it needs an inbox.
It needs an inbox, or it needs OCR recognition. They can just drop it in there and then it reads it and puts it on the right schedule. That would be nice.
Yeah.
those machines.
What were you talking about texting? Clients are also talking to you texting. What do you do with that text? Is there a way to?
I don't read it. Until I'm ready to stop the
That was my thought was you're crazy. But
well, Facebook is even worse.
I don't read it because then it's green as something that I have to look at. So then I have to deal and finish with the client that I'm dealing with. Then I have to put my head back into the next client file, and then I read it to get the information to make sure I have it.
So you use your inbox as like an undone, and then once it's filed, it's done.
Yeah, I guess.
same thing with email. Some people will like leave them unread.
That's how I do my emails. Yeah,
Angela does. That makes me crazy.
I read it. I go, oh my gosh, I need to deal with that later. I mark it unread.
So
then
that's
I go into her email and there's like 200 unreads, and I
525 right now.
You know?
You need a trainer to flag it.
Mark, you have to send.
Yeah, that's why I have 600 flags.
flag it instead of.
So I'm just as bad.
Just as bad, they're flags them instead of unreads.
That's right.
Well, but it doesn't freak Sarah out. That's the important part.
But now all those
Flag
flags
doesn't
are starting to
freak
freak me. Well, okay, so
That's where I think that sorted or sort SORTD would
Yeah.
really, really help when you've got that to do, doing and done kind of flow happening.
So you know what I've done this year is, because I have my clients sending me stuff through ShareFile, is I've actually set up a Zap. So then Zapier, when it realizes that it's got a notification from ShareFile that there's been stuff uploaded, I have it going into a specific channel for my documents. And then when I go into that channel, I use the little icon of the green check mark when I've dealt with it. So that is working a lot better for me.
What are you talking about, channel? In Slack?
So in Slack, I create a channel called
Ah,
ShareFile Notifications.
okay.
And then I also use Right Signature for document signing. So then I have another channel for Right Signature. And so every time I get notification from Right Signature or ShareFile, I have a Zap going into my Slack channel.
And they've got a check mark feature.
And then they've got a little icon. Instead of doing a smiley face, I can do a green check mark. So then when I've dealt with the document or the notification of that document, then I check it off. So I find that that's really been helping, because
I'm
some
visual.
people, well, and some people are you're still trying to, don't send me anything by email because it's not secure. Send it through my portal. But then they still, then they'll, oh, did you get that? Oh, here's another one that I forgot. And they attach it to the email, and you're like, it's in my portal for a reason. I need to have it as a check mark. But that's really helped this year.
So how many different ways do you get information? So there's email, there's Slack, there's ShareFile, there's texting.
Well, okay. So here's a paper. If you
Paper.
ask a question and they answer
paper.
you in a text or some sort of program, I want to capture that somehow.
You want to capture that chat so that you
Yeah.
you can
That's
go
why
back
I'm
and look
like-
at it.
So you can send it. Like on my iPhone, I can send that stuff to myself. So I can actually send that chat to, like, as a screenshot or something, and I can send it to my email, or I can send it to Slack. I can actually send it right to a Slack channel.
So I'm thinking a year from now or 2 years from now, and I go, I could have sworn I already had this conversation with this lady. That's the kind of stuff that I get, because my memory sucks now.
No kidding, mine too.
And I go, didn't we already have this conversation? So what happens is I do a combination of, well, a lot of times I just kill trees. I just print them and I've got them. Terrible. But yeah, I don't know. And I like to document. That's why.
Tiffany, what do you do when you're picking up numbers off of various documents? I mean, in the paper world, I burned out a lot of highlighters, highlighting the 3 numbers on an entire page. So how do you do that electronically? Or do you?
In the PDF, you mean? Do you mark on the PDF?
You can mark on the PDF. I don't, because I just use the PDF and I just know where to pull the information. I usually attach the PDF to the line item in the tax return. But I've got a really cool, on my iPad, I'm using Notability. And then it works really, really nicely with the pencil. And so you're able to mark it all up. And then I actually have that syncing over to Drive. And if I need it that way, then I'll pull it through that, if I need to do that.
I know when I was reviewing a lot of returns this year, the people that, circled, ticked, or highlighted the numbers that I was picking off of brokerage statements, as an example, it makes it a lot easier. So I'm just trying to think through what
Brokerage statements are a killer.
Yeah.
Do you ever use TickTie Calculate?
I looked at that once.
You ever use TickTie Calculate? I use that on mine. It's you can make check marks on PDFs. It's an Adobe plugin.
What's it called?
TickTie Calculate.
You have to put that, in the chat, because I knew you talked to us about that before,
It
Dennis.
was a little pricey, but I think I was looking at it to
I've been using it for the last 5 years, so it's
yeah.
CCH sells a product called PD Flyer, which is another one.
And if only you could do that tick on the file name or something, then you know you've dealt with that file, not just the document with the stuff.
I just rename the files, like
Yeah.
when I put it like in Smart Vault, and then I'll put like entered, and then I'll put reviewed. I mean, as a prefix, so that I always go through it twice. I'll put the entered in, and I use different colored tick marks for the entered and for the reviewed.
Both those allow you to put tick marks or put
tick type calculate.
And they also let you put tapes in it.
Yeah, it does calculator tapes. That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I use that. It's you can paste the.
Let's see, how much is it?
Brandon.
Hey, Brandon.
Brandon
in the car? No, Brandon's in his office.
He's stationary.
Wow, you're not driving? Dude.
Not yet. I was thinking about going home, but I'm still in the office.
Hey, Brandon, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. Ernest, how are you?
Oh, tick tie calculator. I thought it was tick
Yeah, but they're charging. This is.
I think I pay like about. I mean, the first year's kind of expensive, but then after that, it's like about $60 a year.
Oh.
Well, this
First
is
year
charging per return. Am I in the wrong place?
maybe they changed it.
Yeah, save, send, returns. Oh, tick tack calculate.
Tick tie calculate.
Yeah.
And then I went, but where's the price for that?
Doesn't that have like a ruler on it too? I think that's
Yeah.
so that you can look at the PDFs and see how many, if you're doing a list of things.
Like your brokerage statements?
Oh, a digital ruler. That's cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't say how much it is.
Although there's a really cool app called Artifacts, which will actually do all your ACV calculations for you.
It will do all your what calculations?
Adjusted cost base for your investments.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll you can scrape right from brokerage, or it will OCR read off PDFs.
Nice.
Yeah.
184.
Yours is 184. Tic Tac Calculate is 184.
Yeah,
Per
that's the first year. After that, the renewal.
year?
Yeah, the renewal's pretty reasonable. It's pretty pricey the first year, but
Is it a desktop product?
yes.
It's sold by C Paperless, which is a company that does
Yeah, they do a bunch of stuff.
returns where you can actually. It's a product that we use.
Is that what CCH is using then?
No, CCH. No, it's a zipper.
Okay.
No, that's what we're using to send our returns.
Oh.
CCH has their own product.
Yes, they do.
So this actually creates a portfolio with the tax return, walks them through, and they can sign it as well when they're done. And it's set up to pay at the end. So they get this link in their email, go through it. So it's interesting.
I'm getting ready to. I'm waffling though. When we set up the iPad, when we set up our new laptops, I need a that I bought them a while ago. When I got my Fujitsu scanners, it came with Adobe Standard. So I've had Standard all this time. So now it's a subscription per employee. It's going to be a chunk of money. But
yeah, that's why I haven't played with it. I just
testing 1, 2, 3 testing.
Hey, Larry with us! Yay! Hi, Larry.
Hey, if you're interested, I can show you a screen. I can show you how Adobe looks with the Tic-Tac Calculate on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Make sure it's stuff we're allowed to see and broadcast.
Yeah.
Ernest, if you hear a piano, Dennis's wife is teaching piano behind him.
Can you see it? Can you see it now?
Yes.
It's coming.
Okay. So like here are the different.
So that's Adobe.
That's Adobe.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the plugin. And there's another thing I like. It's called.
What version of Adobe is that?
This is
Standard.
this is like, I think it's like 8. It's an older version.
Yeah, it's like mine,
Yeah,
but
one thing to be careful about the older versions of Adobe is that they're no longer being patched for vulnerabilities. So
that's
They
a
are
tough
no
one because
longer
they
being
still
attacked,
work.
or they are being attacked.
No, not
Not
patched.
being patched, and yes, they are vulnerable.
Okay, so the
Alright.
older versions of Adobe are no longer being patched for vulnerabilities.
Right.
I think 11 is the oldest that's currently being patched.
What version am I on?
So here's like the ruler, which is
I'm
kind of
on
nice.
9. I'm on 9.
Centimeters? That's awesome.
Oh, that's a cute. Look at that.
So I use this
at my home.
I use this to line things up and check, make the tick marks, and then there's
And now you
Almost
can
that.
think of me.
Then there-
centimeters.
Because it's Canadian.
But you know what? If you're doing bookkeeping and you've got some long piece of paper, that's handy.
And that's been my problem. I'm used to having one of those stand-up things with the little, fold-over ruler, and just like that, Tiffany. And this is
It's actually a programming one because I can
digital world.
programming stuff with it. Oh God.
there's another thing called I think it's
Yeah,
called,
everybody's got their rulers.
Yeah.
I really like this because you can circle things and
Here, you can highlight it. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
yeah, this is like about $60-$70.
I feel like the odd man out. I don't have a ruler.
Brandon, it's really good for this.
Yeah. So
I've got to go get one now.
And I got an extra one for you, buddy.
You need my address, Ernest? I'll send it to you. You can send it.
so anyway, I'll stop sharing if I can.
Yeah, groceries cost more than the. Maybe we need to put our logos on them and give them to our clients because this was old, man. You can barely read it.
I have to get going.
Bye. Glad
See
you
you
could
next
join
time.
us.
Bye.
All right. See ya.
So I guess the second subject, we only have like 10 minutes left, and we'll talk about
550.
apps and clients and apps, and do you pay or do they pay? Is it good for you? Is it good for them? How do you make the choice? How do you keep them from getting app overload? And how do you keep up with all of the apps?
Well, for us, as we play with these apps and maybe implement one over for this client, one over on this client, we're starting to settle into the ones that we like. So then I'm sort of going client by client. Okay, they wouldn't mind an extra fee or paying for it themselves if I tell them, hey, this will benefit both of us. But some clients, I'm like, you know what? If I tell them one more little app, so
I'm not paying $10 a month more.
you're right. But yet I can say, oh, my fees just went up $50, or whatever. And they'll go, oh, because,
Well, you're worth it. The app is not.
right. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, and if you want to be a client of mine, you'll get all this cool stuff. You'll get T-sheets or you'll get HubDoc or, whatever, without nickel and diming them. But like Gina said, it's a little dangerous. If they aren't a long-term stable client and you lose a client and you're paying these fees and there's a disconnect.
And you could be a couple months behind before you
can
get that app disconnected, and you're paying those fees that you'll never get back. Now, $10 a month is one thing, but you start talking $50 and
Well, T-sheets, we're talking $200.
that's a
I'm like,
that's straight off of your profit.
So are you doing the wholesale billings part of T-sheets or you were just referring it out?
That's what I have 2 T-sheets accounts now. One was just referring and they just set me up as a wholesaler. because this client was waffling and all that. And finally I said, their payroll is so much hell. They have to be on T-sheets. I'm sorry. You know, I've got too many kinds of labor. They're timesheets. You can't read them. You know, I'm just like, and they did a demo before. They did a trial before, but I wasn't available. So it really didn't apply to them. So they didn't understand. And then we had one manager who is like, big brother's gonna, you know, take my firstborn. So she didn't want anything that had GPS on it. That's horrible. And we're not doing it. So before I could get my hands on them and go, those are just options. We can turn them off. So now what I've done is I've set them up with the customer codes, with the event codes, with the actual employees, with the existing service codes. Okay.
But you still need somebody there to be on board that's actually going to do it.
Well, I might trump. That's why I went to wholesale, because I might just say, okay, we're going to T-sheets.
But someone still has to enter the hours.
Their employee, right. So that's the other thing, is I could actually segment them and say, okay, we can implement the timesheets, not everybody at one time. We could say, okay, the problem children could do it. This division could do it, but not this division. And then, you know, just sort of massage them into.
Bring them on board one segment at a time.
Mm-hmm. But the first trick was because they fill out their timesheets with the same type codes. So going from a manual system that makes sense to them to, oh, it's online. Oh, there's my event code. Oh, okay. I'm a custodian. I'm going to put, you know, I'm a custodian. Okay. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So it's a lot of money.
That's my problem, is getting that one person on board. Once you get one person that's really, and they see the big difference and they see the big time saver, then they've got the whole rest of the company converted. Yeah. But while you're just sitting there, all you are is da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and they're like,
Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is why vertically, you know, focusing on a particular niche works out, right? I mean, so if you're nonprofit, here's these 4 things that I'm going to need, and you develop the deep expertise into them, and you know, you can walk into a nonprofit and say, here's the things you're going to need based on, you know, your size and my experience. You've got a deeper knowledge base, and it's faster for you to implement. And everything's exactly where you want it. And everybody wins because your team has efficiency, and you pass that some along in terms of the price of your service.
Right.
No, I get it. I just have a client that I think they really need T-sheets. They're using Excel, and I just can't get them off of it. I mean, if they can use Excel, T-sheets should be a breeze, right?
Right.
But they know what they know, and they're too busy to try something new.
Doesn't it make your job harder in the end? Isn't it taking you a long time to do payroll, or no?
I don't do payroll for them. I don't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're the one, and it does for them. It really does take them longer to do it.
Well, giving them a solution that helps them, that's one thing. Giving them a solution, or us a solution that helps all of them.
Yes.
Because when I look at Angela struggling to do payroll, and she's starting and stopping, and it's taking 2 days, I'm like, it's worth it. And then I'll get paid. I'll get paid. But it's worth it to finally put my foot down and go, okay, you're very complex. We have people clocking in and clocking out, doing all different rates, all different times and all that. Let's automate this. We will do it in pieces as people get comfortable or whatever. And then wholesale is cheaper.
Well,
right.
It's cheaper.
Nonprofit wholesale is actually cheaper than if I were to refer them. So
the other thing you have to think about too is you own the account. And
Right.
so it's harder for somebody to move from you to somewhere else. I mean, I think of it, you think of it as a risk, but I think of it as there's no more of a risk than having your employee go and work for 2 months and then you don't get paid, because you're still paying the employee. But you get 3 different applications that you're billing through wholesale in, and the amount of complexity that they have to do to take all that out and replace it has just gone up.
Exactly.
So you're much more likely to keep somebody a little bit longer. And if you're awake and you start hearing the concerns, you have longer to kind of right the ship before you lose the client.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If you're a client of us, we have a reputation for being. Why am I echoing now?
I think it's Brandon. Brandon, I'm going to mute you for a minute. Okay, go ahead.
We have a reputation, even though we're small, of being technically cool. And so I've mentioned them before, that that client up north that went with a local firm, and I'm trying to fight to try to keep this client, and I'm like, well, how are you going to get them documents? And they go, we don't know. Oh, they said we could use Dropbox if we want to. God. And I had smart sheets, conversation threads, check marks. I mean, it was just so cool. And I tell you what, the staff, they were freaking out, and the auditors, when I took smart sheets away from them. And
that's the thing. If you lose them, they lose all of their stuff.
Lose all the cool stuff. And I don't think they realized, the person that caused all this didn't realize how much I did for them.
Right. Right.
So,
and I think that happens. I mean, once things become more and more automated and there are no problems, there's no squeaky wheels, everything's rolling smoothly, they can lose concept of how much you really are doing for them.
Right. And see, that's the danger too with nonprofits, is that with a regular company, I have a relationship with the owners. They're not going anywhere. I have them long term. With a nonprofit,
you get a new CEO.
The new team comes in, and they weren't here when we went through all the hell and all that pain of, getting a workflow and everything works smoothly. They walk in and it's beautiful. And then they go, and you're paying what? Well, I can go down the street and get, $20 an hour for that. And then I gotta go. Here we go.
Right, exactly.
And we're right back to that selling your value again. But I do worry about the app fatigue with clients when I recommend. So I think I am going to do more wholesale things. It's I don't know. I look at my monthly bill, and sometimes I go,
you almost need to just design.
Yeah, design a package and go, okay, if you're a nonprofit or if you have this, we are going to use.
This is what we use. This is our system. You're on board with us. If you want another system, you're on board with someone else.
That's not uncommon.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to the extent that you charge an onboarding fee, and then choose to either waive it or defer it. So I'm going to waive it, but if you leave within the first year, you've got to pay it.
Oh, that's interesting.
I like that idea.
I like that. I like that idea. I like that concept a lot.
Yeah, MSPs have been doing that for a while.
Yes.
Nice. Because that is a way of protecting yourself a little bit.
When I switched to flat billing, I had to be really careful when I switched them, because there's certain times of the year where I make like W-2 season. I like a lot of money doing the W-2s and the quarterlies and all that. If I flipped them to flat billing before I could accrue enough extra money, I lost. December is not when you want to flip somebody to flat billing.
Right.
But I like the onboarding fee if it's somebody new.
To kind of protect yourself, because you do go through a lot. You do go through a lot with them in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, all righty, we're going to end our recording today. It's half hour goes fast, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you all same time, same place next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.